The road runs all the way up to the west, goes around to the bend. This ridge comes down off the road up to it, make this mound, and it secludes everything. So from this whole face right here, you can't see it from the road. So one of the topics here, guys, is in relations to why we do these packets, and another portion of this is going to be, we'll touch on the importance of a few of these ledgers, if you will, that pop up in here. So I'm a big believer that when I leave the properties, you guys have everything in your hands. We cover a lot, so you have everything in your hands to refresh your memory, go back on, touch base on that stuff, and really give you a comfortable feeling about the process and the steps that you have coming ahead of you. And I think what that what that comes with for me over the years is just understanding that there's people that have been that I have been with that have left me kind of a bunch of information, whether that's a new job or whether that's on in a guiding situation, whatever that situation is, that you have to kind of when you're out in the property and you don't have good cell service or whatever that case is, you have to be able to remember things. So that's one of the things that why I started these packets years ago, is just as a refresher to kind of let folks know that, hey, these are my kind of school of hard knocks, if you will, things I've learned over the years. I think it's 30 pages now in this, you guys keep these with you. But in here, so the topic of the video today is there's a page in here that goes over the ledger of the design. So we're going to touch on that today as I'm packing packets here and continuing on. I've got to leave this afternoon and heading to Illinois, and so we are about halfway through our total clients for the year. And one of the things that keeps coming up that I see a lot of is just the implementation, I guess you could say, of the designs on properties. Now, whether that's you've hired a consultant and then I'm there in the future because maybe something didn't work, or you're looking for something new, or looking for a fresh set of eyes, whatever the case is, or it's a client that has designed the stuff themselves in the before I got there, and they started implementing some of that, or maybe they didn't implement. Either way, what I see, guys, is this: is I'm seeing kind of a repetitive deal, and that's why, like I've told you before, I always like to bring you these videos when stuff is repetitive, because I know if one person's struggling with it, maybe many people are as well. So one of the things that I see along the way here is that that folks are designing their properties, or consultants are designing the properties from afar. Now, obviously the consultant side of it, I guess I don't agree with it, but I can understand that because they're not there on your property. But as a landowner, there is absolutely no reason to be designing that from afar. Now, if you have a this is what I recommend. If you have the computer at home, you have the service, and maybe there isn't cell service out at the farm, whatever the case is, and you feel pretty confident that how the property flows, then what I do is I recommend this. I recommend that you get your iPad, you get your phone, whether you're using Onyx or you're using Hunt Stand, which I completely switched to Hunt Stand. I probably will never go back to Onyx. But the thing is you can do them designs from afar and really start studying them when you're in, you do have a weekend free, or you have an evening free, let's say. This time of the year, most of us, we have a weekend free, we're out on the farm, right? But start putting that stuff in, and just by designing that stuff and moving some things, looking at some things that didn't work last year, things that did work, you're able to move that spectrum around, and all of a sudden you'll start getting refreshers of, hey, wow, I'm overlooking something, or I can create an edge here that creates a pinch point or a funnel that I totally overlooked last year, or maybe that's already there, you just weren't hunting it. But what I highly recommend doing is saving that. Once you get that done, let's say you are using hunt stand, and saving those improvements that you've done and taking a picture with them with your phone. Let's say looking at that, after you get it done. Let's say it's on your iPad or your laptop, and taking your phone and taking a picture of that, and then having that refresher kind of in your mind. That's the plan that you want to look at, and then deleting it off from the main design platform, whatever you're using, such as hunt stand. And the reason I say that is this: what I find is I show up to a lot of client properties, and like I said, to me there should never be a design that was designed that's still on your phone that you did from afar, or on your final final document that you wanted to try to implement. Because this is what I see, guys, is I see that when I'm there, I have this question a lot that arises. Well, as we go, I've got folks that are looking at their phone, referencing stuff there, and they're like, okay, this is kind of the same ideas that I had, and this is cool to know that some of the stuff that I've been watching on Josh's videos, and I'm learning something. That's the cool part of it. The bad part of it is when I get the response from clients that say, hey, I think this food plot needs to be 50 yards longer, 100 yards longer. So, and they don't say that at the time of the consultant, at the time of the meeting. So then we agree with it there, we design it all, I implement it, and then I get photos of is they're extending it because they don't feel that the food plot was big enough. Now, so in the food plot one is one of them. In my way, guys, is I'm able to see those failures way ahead of most folks, the common property owner, just because, not that I know anything more than what you guys do. The simple fact is I just get to see more properties. And if I ended a food plot short of a ridge top, it's for a reason, because that's natural screening, or maybe there was enough natural browse at the end of it where we needed to shut that off because of access reasons to get you past it in the future, and then we're going to add some more screening as far as that long-term screening. And I think what it all is it's all tied to this. There's this huge myth in the industry with consultants, with landowners, that they think that you have to meet 10% of your food plot, your farm, your property, 10% of your property, your total acreage needs to be in a food plot. So what people do is, instead of having the plots in the right places, they are putting the plots to meet their 10%, 50 acres. I need 5 acres of food plots. Well, when you got done with it, there was only 2. So yes, those areas that we pinned out are good, and I think that's right, but I'm going to extend them. I'm going to extend each one of them by an acre. The problem with that is there's other ways to reach that goal. If your property permits 10% of food plots, we're going to get you to 10%. I've designed many properties that succeed, that are 5 to 10% of your property, or 10 to 20% of your property, sorry. And I've also designed properties like I did this week, for instance, that the property has lowland wet spots. They have maybe it's wide open timber, and it's not just this weekend's clients, but it's all of the time I'm seeing this. Is sometimes it might be 40 acres and we might have 2 acres of food plots. It might be 100 acres and I might have 15 acres of corn, and be able to do something like that if it's tillable. But it all fits the property. So how do you reach that 10% goal? You reach that 10% goal by other sources. You reach that 10% goal by adding your fruit trees on the side of it. If you're down south, we drop some of those more of those hard mass producers, your persimmon, stuff like that, is how we reach those goals. So the moral of this video, the topic of this video, the standout point of this video, I guess is what you're saying, or what I'm getting at here, is refresh my memory on to do this video today, just for that reason, is because we can always add to, we can always subtract from food plots. We can bend transition areas in the future where browse is better. You know, we can always tweak that stuff as we go throughout your program that we set in place, that you guys earned and paid for through a consultant fee. But one thing I highly encourage you to do, so a couple things. One is to make sure that when you're designing this, if you're designing this by yourself, there's a lot of power in, like I said, is taking your iPad, designing it on there, kind of getting an idea on where you're going, taking your phone, taking a picture of it, keeping that imagery on your phone, deleting that off the final map, then going out to the farm and going through and walking that farm. So your stands, because when we design these properties, guys, I'm standing directly at your tree stand location, and what you'll see is when you get done with that, your design is going to maybe look similar. It may have some different features that you had in mind from the couch. But when you get out there and you start placing your foot on that ground, them icons, those stand locations, those transition areas, those food plots have to fit the property. And just because your neighbor has an acre food plot doesn't mean that you need an acre food plot. Just because your neighbor's food plot is long linear doesn't mean that yours isn't going to be round or hook shaped or have a J hook to it or whatever the case is. So it all fits the property. And I think the more that I go, the more that I connect with folks on that there's so much power in making sure that boots on the ground is what, as the ledger in here, boots on the ground, making sure that your ideas are formulated from home and then they're set in stone on the property, not just from the couch. And big tips there, guys. Like I said, these videos sometimes get real direct, and there's nobody that I'm directing this completely as. There's many. I'll go 2-3 weeks, and we won't have any of that anybody has it on their phones, and then I'll go 2-3 weeks, and I'll have 4 clients right back to back that all have it on their phone, and they're wanting my design to look like their design, and if it does, then they're like, man, I really learned something, like I said, and that's a great connection, because then I know you guys are following along. And then the other ones I have that they're like, man, I didn't even think about this. How do you see this stuff? This is the first time that you've ever set foot on my property. How do you see this stuff? And it's just the raw fact is, guys, that I just get to see more properties than most people do. The consumer. Now, maybe not as many as other consultants do around the country, but I feel pretty strongly about what we have done so far this year. And there's no properties that I've set foot on out of the 30. I think this week is going to be 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37. And through those properties, I really don't feel like there's any of those that are subpar. There is some powerful pieces. There are some powerful things coming to this our whitetail range as a nation as a whole. And I've always preached that. You heard me preach about how strong I thought 2020 was going to be, and it was. And I've got very high hopes for 2021. And so keep that in mind, guys. Make sure that you're putting those implementations. If you're doing this yourselves, if you're not hiring a consultant, whether that's me or someone else, just keep that in mind as build it from home. Think about it at home. Put those on there, and you can see so much by just moving switchgrass pockets or bedding pockets, or all of this stuff that we implement, water holes and licking branches in your transition areas. Put all that stuff on there. Have fun, enjoy yourself doing it, but make sure that you don't go out to the farm with just a picture and just start implementing it just to make it look like the picture that you designed from the couch. Use that as a reference, but make sure that you lay that out on the farm, and then you can set it in stone. And then your Onyx, for example, or your hunt stand, all of my stuff, like I said, is on hunt stand. Then your hunt stand is GPS pinpoint accuracy. So if you have to share that, such as I do with my clients, or the clients have to share that to a logger or someone to do your hinge cutting, you know that they're in the exact spot, because that picture is a picture's worth 1,000 words, as they say. But that GPS pinpoint accuracy now on hunt stand is worth 1,000,000 words. It's worth It doesn't take very many words because it's all self-explanatory, and your pinpoint GPS accuracy, you're standing right at the spot. So the days of hiring a consultant that just gives you a photo or a thing of the past, now with being able to share all of that, so it's all GPS pinpoint accuracy on Hunt Stand, I highly recommend that's the app to use because of the power that you can design that and you can have that right at your fingertips when you're on the property. So whether this is a handbook that you received from me, guys, or if you're one of my clients, I look at all of you guys that watch this this channel as clients. I've got many folks that reach out that I haven't worked with yet, that are in direct contact with me all the time because of this channel, and I really appreciate the support. I've never asked this on any of my videos yet, but I would really appreciate if you guys share, subscribe and share this this content, because what happens, guys, is that helps others. This whole system of these handbooks, telling you which app I recommend, one over the other, all of this is to build the huntability of these whitetail ranges. So even if you don't live in a certain range and you go there to hunt, or you potentially buy stuff in the future, or just as the world is today with all the negative guys, we're all deer hunters, and let's all promote each other and make sure that we can give each other the best information that's out there. And I feel that if you don't have a handbook, build your own. If you're not going to hire a consultant, build your own handbook. Take your notes, your field notes, all that stuff from the year, put it in this thing so you can review it on the couch each and every evening that you have as you're building those properties. Just make sure, like I said, that you're not trying to just take recommendations from your neighbor that's got a certain thing that it has to fit. It has to fit your property. If it doesn't fit your property, it's not going to work. If your food plots are too big, just because you're trying to reach that 10% goal, like we said, those are all the things that I can help you reach. But don't overdo the plots. Make sure that it's GPS pinpoint accuracy. Study your handbooks. Continue to reach out. We appreciate the support. We'll see you on the road, guys. Thanks.